I received a message recently and it was, "You are exactly where you need to be." Or really, it was, "I am exactly where I need to be." But I felt like it was in the collective. It was in the collective consciousness of this feeling of frustration or feeling like I need to be doing this or I should be doing that. And I received the message, "You are exactly where you need to be." And so I want to come on here and use this message in the context of my stages of consciousness. And when you're trying to learn something new, when you're trying to master something, when you're trying to become a master in your field or at whatever you're trying to do, you're just trying to be a better person. You're trying to be healthier and wealthier and smarter and have better relationships. You get to a place where you feel anger or frustration or feeling stuck or lost or just feeling like, am I on the right path? And so I want to come here and tell you guys that you are exactly where you need to be. And I wanted to teach you about my 4 stages of consciousness in the context of mastery. And hopefully it will give you a lot of relief on realizing, yes, I am exactly where I need to be in this stage of my life in order to receive the lessons that I'm meant to receive at this stage so I can elevate, so I can ascend, so I can grow, so I can become the best version of myself. So what is mastery? Let me define mastery. And it is unconscious competence. That is what mastery is. So mastery is unconscious competence. Another definition that I really love is Myron Golden's definition of mastery, which is the ability to execute effortlessly without the use of conscious resources. So I talk about mastery and mindset mastery. That's my membership. And I talk about being able to master your mindset so you can achieve the things that you desire effortlessly. When you delve into your subconscious mind and you do the deeper work and do the releasing and the shedding of the conditioning and all the things, right? You do the deeper work, you are able to unconsciously manifest and unconsciously create the reality that you desire without all of the self-sabotage, all of the inconsistency, all of the procrastination, all the things that are going on that you feel like, oh, I'm self-sabotaging myself, but really it's just your brain trying to keep you safe. So once you do all the deeper work, you're able to shed those conditioning, shed the layers of conditioning and limiting beliefs and allow yourself to have things that you truly desire unconsciously. That is the beauty of doing the subconscious mind work. So within the context of my teachings, I talk about my stages of consciousness. And this is not something that is supposed to make you compare yourself or say, like, I'm super conscious, but someone else is unconscious. Like, it's not meant to it's not meant to be used in that way. It's not meant to rank yourself. It's not meant to be used in an egoic way. It's supposed to be used to let you know at essentially like place yourself at what stage of consciousness that you're at and see where your pitfalls could be, where your blind spots could be, because you might be super hyper focused on something, right? This is why I talk about the self-consciousness stage, is because we get super like self-aware, hyper self-aware. I talk about this in the How to Heal Without Healing. Like we're hyper focused on healing. We're hyper focused on what's wrong with me. We're hyper focused on our partners. And I talked about that with like relationship anxiety. Like you can be hyper focused on your partner and all the things that's going wrong with them, or hyper focused on yourself and extra critical and extra hyper self-aware. And because you're so focused on things, when you think about it, you're blind to other things. You're blind to your blind spots. So when you are able to essentially place yourself at any given time, because you can have an unconscious moment, you can have a conscious moment. If you can place yourself at any given time in the stage of consciousness, you can know where you still have some work to do, and also know if you're in a good space. Like, I'm exactly where I need to be. If I'm in the self-conscious stage or if I'm in the conscious stage, like I'm exactly where I need to be in order to receive the lessons that I need at this level, in order to grow, in order to expand. Because sometimes we'll try to skip some steps, we'll try to skip certain levels, and then we realize that we actually haven't skipped those steps. We actually haven't grown to that level. We still have a lot of work to do in that area. And the beauty and the funny thing about doing this deeper work is that you feel like you're more advanced sometimes, and that's an ego thing. And then like you get knocked back down and you're like, wait, I thought I was here, but oh, I'm still in this stage and I'm still learning. And that's a beautiful thing. Like, it's not that there's something wrong. You don't have to be frustrated. You don't have to feel all this resistance of like, why am I not there yet? Why am I not a millionaire yet? Why am I not, I don't know, skinny or fit yet? Why is my relationship not perfect yet? You don't have to be in that space of frustration and like anxiety of like, I need to get to this next space, because you being where you're at is crucial. It's crucial to the journey. And, you know, it's like if you're constantly trying to get to the destination, you will miss the journey. And then you'll get to that destination and realize, like, you'll get there. It's hedonic adaptation, right? You'll get to that level. You'll get to making that amount of money. And because you have primed your nervous system to constantly be chasing something else and chasing something new, even when you get there at that destination, you will have only moved that goalpost. It's like the trick of the mind, the trick of the human experience, of the human psyche. You will always constantly be chasing something that is, the goalpost will always have moved. So this tool is supposed to help you just be content with where you're at. It's supposed to help you not rank yourself, not be like, why I need to, this is another thing I need to attain. I need to obtain super consciousness. It's not that. It's supposed to essentially allow you to be where you're at and know, like, okay, these are my blind spots in this area. If I work on these things, like, then I'll actually grow and ascend and evolve and become the most expansive version of myself. So when I talk about mastery, it's essentially you being in your superconscious state, which is, it's unconscious and able. And then I guess I'll write the other one. So your superconscious is unconscious and able. This is essentially like the 4 stages of ability. I'll call it that, the 4 stages of ability. So when you're superconscious, you are unconscious and able. That is when you are mastered in something. So unconscious, actually, I'll talk about this for a second. So we come into this world as already expansive, limitless beings. That is how we come into this world. We come into this world as just already like close to God. We come into this world as children of God, and that is the only identity that we truly have. We come into this world with purpose. God put us here for a reason. We come into this world as already limitless, expansive, infinite beings. We're close to God. We can connect with God. And that's why you hear many children being like, I used to talk to my angels, or, I used to pray to God, or even my nephew, he's always like, I love you, God. Like, you're just so close to your creator. And it's only when all the layers of conditioning are placed on top of you, the conditioning from society, from your family unit, from culture, from, traumatic things that could have happened, from your schooling, whatever these layers are, it puts restrictions and limits on your already expansive identity. So we come into this world, if you think about it, super conscious. We come into this world infinite and with infinite possibility. And that's why as you get older, some people are like it used to be like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be, Superman. Like, kids just have all of this. This is why that's literally why people love having kids, is because it's like they are so free. They're so free. They don't have they're not super self-conscious and self-aware. They're just like, I just want to be. They are like literally in their pure feminine energy essence, because they are always in the present moment. They're not sitting there thinking about like, oh, what's going to happen tomorrow? Or this is what happened in the past. Like, they forgive quickly. They love hard. They are just so pure. And it's because they're so close to their creator. And that's the beauty of super conscious, is like they're unconsciously in their present moment. That is why people love kids, because the purity, the connection, the mental freedom that they have. It's like something that's like, like you get to relive your childhood, if you're doing it right, through your kids, and just be able to enjoy and be in the present moment with them and just like soak up all the juiciness. I don't know if you can tell, but I can't wait to have kids. But it's like, they are just like, they're so pure. But that's how we all come into this world. And that's why people talk about the shadow work and the inner child work and all of these things, because you're connecting back to that part of you that was limitless and infinite and expansive and free, and just knew that you were a child of God. And like, you might just ask like, oh God, I want a bike. And then like somehow, your parents bring you a bike, or a bike shows up, and just like, you just have this freedom of manifestation and creation, and you're just like pure creation energy, and you're just so connected to God. It's like anything is possible. You don't have all of this like, well, money has to come through this way, and this is hard because this person said it's hard. Like you just be. You're a pure feminine essence being as a child. So that is like literally the epitome of super conscious. Like, you aren't conscious of it, and you're just creating. you're constantly creating through your subconscious mind. I talked about that in the last video. It's like you're constantly creating through your subconscious mind. So kids are constantly creating and they're just like, oh, I want some food. And then, your parent, who is supposed to be a reflection of like God in the flesh, like that's like our Father in heaven is supposed to be your Father on earth. You're like, oh, I'm hungry. And then your father brings you food. Like there's just that certain expectation and faith there that your needs are all going to be provided for. And it's only when those layers of conditioning and the limitations and the traumas and the woundings and all of these things are placed on top of your already expansive being that you become, I'd say, you become more in your masculine energy. Like, not that it's a bad thing, but you realize through conditioning that you have to do certain things or be certain ways in order to receive love. So maybe a parent is a certain way, but you have to this is how people pleasers are created. Like you have to do something for your parent to love you. That's what is formed in your mind. You have to do something. You have to become something. You have to please them. You have to get good grades for them to love you. You have to do certain things in order for your parent to love you. So that's how you get all this conditioning and the people pleasing and all these, wounds and traumas and attachment styles. It's like, I have to work for love, which is not true. So just realize that you already are expansive, and the deeper work is essentially a deconditioning. It is a releasing. It is a shedding of those layers of conditioning so you can get back to the pure essence of who you are, that childlike state of like, God, I love you. I expect money to just fall into my lap, and then money falls into your lap and you're like, thank you, God. Like now I'm going to be fruitful and bless others and just give from my overflow, because like, that's just how it is, like that's just a beautiful life. So realize that you already come into the world unconsciously being able to create. And it is only through the layers of conditioning that is being placed on top of you, which is why I talk so much about the mindset work and the identity work and all those things. It's only after you get those layers placed on top of you that you essentially are in survival. So that is what unconscious is. So when you think about being unconscious, it is essentially you're unconscious and you're unable. And you're also, let's call this survival. So let's say you had some type of conditioning and you learned that money is hard to come by, or you have to earn love from your parents, or just certain things. Certain things are just learned throughout your life, and it is embedded in your subconscious mind and also in your body because it is emotional. You can have emotions attached to these things, and you can get trapped emotions in your body. And I'll link the book down below that talks about trapped emotions in your body. But that is when you are in the unconscious stage, because you are essentially in survival. You're essentially just focused on food and shelter and water and clothing, like the basics of life. So life hits you and you realize that you are not, in this rich, abundant state, that you actually have to go and work for food, or your parents are super busy. So you're trying to get their attention and vie for their attention. And, instead they're watching TV or they're on their phone, or they have to work all day and they come home and they're tired, or they're out, saving the world or doing whatever that they do. They have to volunteer and they don't really have time for you. And that is when all of these things come into play and you form core woundings. I am unlovable. My needs are not important. My needs are not met. I am lonely. I am abandoned. You get all these core wounds, and those are the layers that get piled on top of you. And so you become hyper masculine, and you're essentially in survival mode. And so that is the state of unconsciousness. And once you and you can also use these things in the context of learning, right? So there's some things that you might have learned, like your family might have been good with health, but they weren't good with money. So you might grow up in a family that health has no conditioning, has no weirdness around. You guys all have healthy bodies, but maybe around money, you guys are unconscious and unable, and money just comes in and goes out, and you're just always in a state of survival in money. So in the different areas, and I talk about the 3 different areas in my programs: health, wealth, and let's just call it love. In the different areas of your life, you can also fluctuate on these different stages of ability or these stages of consciousness. So in certain areas, you could be super conscious and just automatically be able to eat healthy and work out, and that's just how it is. But in in money, you might not be good in that area, and you're in an unconscious state with money. So once you get to the next level, this is where all of my girls are usually in the self-conscious stage, but you become hyper self-aware. So you're conscious of it, you're self-conscious, you're really conscious of the fact that you don't know something or the fact that you don't have this thing. You are struggling with money, or you're struggling with your health, or you're struggling with your relationships, and you're hyper aware, you're hyper conscious of it, but you're unable. So you're unable to change it at this point. So you're conscious and unable. So at this level, in, let's say, trying to get to mastery, trying to get to a super conscious, free, limitless, abundant state with your health or with your wealth or with love, when you're trying to ascend and become a better version of yourself, you might get stuck in this stage, which you are hyper self-aware, let's say, and let's call this survival mode. Survival mode. And you become hyper self-aware. So you're at this stage and you realize all of the things that you don't know. Like, oh, other people have it really easy with money. Other people can just make money and they know how to invest it. They know how to save it. In their family, it's normal to do that. And they might struggle with something else. Maybe they don't have a lot of love in their relationships, but they always have money. So like I said, different areas of your life, you can struggle with different things. So maybe you get to the point where you're like, okay, I am at first I was unconscious with money. Let's use money as an example. First, I was unconscious with money. And like I said before, we all come into the world super conscious and expansive and limitless. And we're like, oh, of course I'm worthy of love. Of course I'm worthy of money. Of course I'm worthy of a healthy body. And then the conditioning gets piled on. So let's use money as an example. You might come into the world, feeling like, okay, of course I'm worthy of money, but through the conditioning, through, I can't afford it, through money doesn't grow on trees, through, all of these like things that get embedded in your subconscious mind. I talked about that in the last video. All the things that get embedded in your subconscious mind, you're like, oh, like this is my reality for money, until you see something different. So you might see people who are really good with money, and you're like, oh, like this is a possibility for me. This is something that I didn't know existed, and that wasn't normal for me within my family unit. So you get to this place where you are hyper self-aware of you become conscious of the thing that you lack. and that is a hard place to be in, especially when you are like how I was, like people pleaser, overthinker, hyper self-aware, like anxious, constantly dissecting everything. I talked about that in my How to Heal Without Healing video, like what's wrong with me? You're constantly healing yourself. You're constantly fixing yourself, constantly feeling broken. And you're like, why can't I get to this next stage, which is, let's say, conscious and able. So you're like, why can I not get to the stage? Like I'm aware of my flaws. I'm aware of how to fix it. I'm aware of my deficiencies, but I have no idea how to close the gap. Like that is the gap. It seems like a small gap, but this is almost like the widest gap when you are trying to. This is why so many people get stuck in this stage, because this is like the widest gap. It's like you're aware of what you don't know. Like here, it's like you just don't know. You don't know, and you don't know that you don't know. But once you become conscious of it, you're like, oh my God, there's like this huge gap of I know. And then sometimes you might feel like you know, but it's like you know how much you don't know in this space. So it's like you don't know that you don't know. Here you do know that you don't know, but you don't know how to close the gap between executing and becoming conscious and being able to do it, being able to make more money and keep it and hold it, being able to lose the weight and keep it off, being able to stay in a relationship and not self-sabotage it. There's this gap of not knowledge, but embodiment. So that is essentially mastery. Mastery is your full-fledged embodiment of something. And this is why I talk so much about embodiment, because like women in my community, we have so much head knowledge. We have so much head knowledge. We want to, like, a lot of times we get all this knowledge and then we spit it out at other people, and we don't allow it to essentially be integrated into our being. When you are mastered in something, when you are embodied in something, it is unconscious, because you have done it so many times. You have consciously been doing it. You have consciously been like, okay, I need to work out more. I need to eat better. I need to stop sabotaging my relationship. I need to manage my finances in a healthy way. You've been consciously doing it for so long that it becomes unconscious, and it becomes embodied, and it becomes mastered. So instead of spitting information back out at other people because you're all up in your head and you're not embodied in anything, you're actually able to embody the thing, shut your mouth, embody it, execute on these things, be able to execute on it, be able to be conscious of it, which is so hard, because when you're learning, like I said in the last video, your brain uses up a lot. It's a very expensive organ. Your conscious brain is only 5%, but when you're consciously doing something, it's taking up a lot of mental energy. So this is why people stay comfortable in their space, because it's easier to do that. Your subconscious is like, yeah, just go lay on the couch and watch your TV show like you always do. But when you're trying to learn something new, when you're trying to deviate from the norm, your subconscious mind, first of all, it's dangerous. It's like, what am I doing? This is not what I'm used to. This is not what my family's always done. This is not, like, it feels dangerous. Alarms go off in your body, and it wants you to stay comfortable. So it's like, first of all, it's hard to do, and it takes up a lot of mental energy in your brain. So when you're consciously doing something, when you're consciously creating something, when you are manifesting and like forcing it and trying to do it, it's like it's just draining. So, but you have to go through this stage. You have to master all of these stages to get to the super conscious stage. You can't just skip it. Some people are like, oh, well, I'm just going to sit here and just like manifest it. And it's like, no, baby, you have to. And this is why in the conscious stage, I talk about like harmony, like harmonizing your feminine and masculine energies, and creating the systems and the structures with the masculine, and also having the creativity and the feminine flow, and being able to like flow in and out of things and consciously create things with both of the creation energies, with your masculine energy, setting the structure, the time, the containers, the systems, the automations, everything. And then you can just be creative. Like, for example, a masculine container is this phone. A masculine container is the time that I blocked out today to create this video. A masculine container is this board. And then the feminine is the content. It's me speaking. It's me being on camera. It's me being creative. It's me being in my feminine energy. It's me, putting all the content together. So it's like you need both of these energies to consciously create something, but it takes a lot of mental energy. And that's why most people don't do it. They don't do it because it's hard to learn. It's hard to grow. It's hard to get out of your comfort zone. And the best thing for you to do, which if you're here, I know, of course, you're wanting to learn, and you're a super conscious woman, you're a super conscious sister. If you're here and you're learning, congratulations. You are the type of person who is essentially like a top 10% person, a person who is constantly growing and willing to learn and be uncomfortable. But the key is to not just get all of the head knowledge and be hyper self-aware and hyper self-conscious. The key is to get to this next stage of consciousness is to not just have the head knowledge, but embody it and execute and take action on the things that you're learning, and allow it to be integrated into your being. So instead of it constantly feeling like, what is wrong with me? Why am I broken? Why can't I get this right? Frustration, anger, resentment, annoyance, feeling stuck, feeling lost, feeling confused, feeling all this resistance. It's like allowing yourself to connect back to your body. This is part of the feminine energy, right? Connecting back to your body. Moving all of your mind energy. That's why I talk so much about meditation. Moving all of this energy from your mind, taking it down to your body, and be like, okay, I have the thoughts and all the mental stuff going on, but where is the embodiment? Where is me taking action and executing and consciously creating the things that I desire in my life? And then once you do that, then you'll be able to be super conscious. You'll be able to unconsciously create, and you'll be able to do it without so much effort, without so much hard effort, without feeling like you're broken, there's something wrong with you, you're not doing it right. you will feel like, oh, like I'm exactly where I need to be, even if I'm not, you know, always in a conscious state and consciously creating. Even if I do fall back into survival mode in some areas, okay, I now have the tools and the wisdom and the consciousness to be able to know, okay, this is where I'm at right now, and these are the steps I need to take to get to that next level. So that is the beauty of learning these stages of consciousness, is that instead of feeling frustrated with where you're at, you can be like, okay, I need more masculine structure within my relationship, within the love area of my life. We need to plan out weekly dates so we don't get into these arguments, or so I don't feel like a lack of love, or I'm conscious that I need to like pour more love into myself. I need to write down all my 5 love languages and how I want those to be met and meet those for myself, so I don't feel a lack in that area. Maybe I need more friends. Like, you can have the consciousness to like zoom out and have the self-awareness, not the hyper self-awareness, but like the self-awareness to realize where your gaps are and how you can feel that, because it's all from within, right? Like, money is not from without, love is not from without, like health is not from without. No one can, give you a magic pill and say, here, like, this is the solution. It's all from within. So if you are feeling a lack of love, if you're feeling a disconnection from source, if you're feeling anxiety and fear, if you're in a space of lack and anxiety and just not being where you desire to be, it's because you have to go within. Like, I talk about the superconscious. The superconscious is what they call like the Holy Spirit within. So you have to go inward. You have to go within. And that's a big part of embodiment. That's why I say get like at least 15 minutes of quiet time a day, whether you meditate, whether you do yoga, whether you just sit there, whether you pray, whether you journal. Like, start with 15 minutes a day and just get quiet, because you going inward is what will help you connect to the superconscious, to the Holy Spirit within, to the highest version of yourself, to the you 2.0, to the superconscious within, to your highest self. Like, that is what will give you that power to, go to the superconscious and create and get downloads, receive downloads, and then drop into your conscious and be like, okay, I'm about to execute. I'm about to take action. Let me write that down. Let's say, I like the consciousness because it's like harmony, and let's say harmony and creativity. So when you're here, you have the feminine and the masculine, and you're creating consciously. And it takes a lot of energy, and it might drain you. You might be tired at the end of the day. Don't forget to make sure you're doing all of the unconscious things: food, shelter, water, sleep. Like, don't forget those things that will get you out of survival. Don't forget to set up your masculine structures and stuff to get you out of survival mode. But here's where you can use that feminine energy and the masculine energy to create, because here at self-conscious is where you'll be in your wounded feminine and your wounded masculine. So you might be hyper masculine. Usually, if you're a feminine essence being, you go to wounded feminine or wounded masculine. And if you are a masculine essence being, you will go to wounded feminine. So you might be, let's say if you're a man, masculine essence, then you will end up just like smoking all day, or playing video games, or tuning your family out and just like scrolling on the TV. Like, that is when you are in your wounded feminine energy. And then when you are a feminine essence being, you will switch over to wounded masculine. So you'll like be controlling everybody. You'll be trying to control your friends and control your partner, and you'll just be in a very like, I'm not safe, so I'm just gonna like control everything around me. And that is wounded masculine. And you might be like, that's an abusive thing, right? Like, think about a man in his wounded masculine. It's like he's controlling. He's controlling his woman. Don't go anywhere. I don't want you to wear that. I don't want, like, you're controlling everything about that person. That is what wounded masculine energy is. A man or a woman could have wounded masculine energy. So it's like a lot of control. You aren't detached. You aren't surrendered. You aren't trusting in essentially God. Like, you aren't in a space of detachment. You're like, money can only come from this source. Money can only come from here. Or my partner has to love me. My partner has to do this. My partner has to buy me flowers and kiss me 10 times a day, or I'm not going to be happy. That's you giving your power away. That is you being in your wounded energies, because it's like love doesn't come from within. Love comes from without. That person has to give me love. That person has, my job has to give me money. When God is like, hey, we are expansive. Like, are you not a child of God? Like, are you not my child? Of course, you can get money from anywhere. Of course, a check could come in the mail. Of course, someone could call you and offer you opportunity. Of course, money can come from your business or from your side hustle or from wherever money can come from. Like, you might find it on the ground. Like, what do you mean? Like, it can just come from everywhere and anywhere. And when you finally like get to that place of like, oh, like I'm an expansive, limitless child of God. I have no, like I'm infinite. I have no limits. I can attract whatever I desire into my life. You're like, oh, like you just release control in essentially you detach, you stop trying to control everything and everyone around you, and you're able to trust and surrender in God's greater plan for your life. Like, what? Do you want it to all be on your shoulders? Like, no, release the weight, relieve the burden off of your shoulders, and allow yourself to be abundant and happy and super conscious and just be in that state of like, it can come from anywhere. Love can come from anywhere and everywhere, and it already does. Like, if you are watching this video, you are probably not in unconscious state. You are in the self-conscious state, and you are probably in a first world country. You're probably not at risk of having food or water. You probably have running water. Like, you probably have a roof over your head. Even if it might not be yours, you still have a roof over your head. Like, you are not in a place of survival. You're just in a place of survival mode. So you're missing all of the abundance that's already around you. Like, literally count your blessings. If you're watching this video, it's probably on an iPhone, which is $1,000 plus phone. Like, people in third world countries could only imagine having $1,000 even on a payment plan. Like, let's say you're on a payment plan, like they could only imagine being able to have a payment plan and have $1,000 plus phone or $1,000 bag on their shoulder. Like, there's just so many things that you can be grateful for. It's like gratitude, love, like that is what brings more abundance to you. Like, do you not want more abundance? Like, that is what brings more abundance to you. So I promise you, if you're watching this video, you could be practicing way more gratitude about all of the things that you have in your life. And I'm saying this because I'm talking to myself too. Like, you just don't realize how blessed you are to have like beauty, to have hair, to have like skin, to just be living at this time to where it's like, I was just reading this book by not Naval Ravikant. What's his name? I think it is him. No, I lied. Yeah. I was just reading this book by Naval Ravikant, and it's like how to be rich or something, or how to get rich. And he was saying that we are richer, first world country, we are richer than like people in the 1800s. Like, he was like, I would not switch places with people even 100 years ago, because us being more conscious, us creating, being in our creation energy, harmonizing our feminine and masculine energies, being creative, using our creative energies to create things on this earth is what is raising the consciousness and the standard of living for everyone on the planet. Mind blown. Like, are you realizing this? You just being happy, you meditating, you getting quiet time, you doing this deeper work, you are raising the consciousness, the collective consciousness of everyone on the planet, and the things that you create are creating more abundance for everybody. That's why there is like lack, y'all. Lack is an illusion. Like, a lack of money does not exist. We are always creating more and more money. Trillionaires are about to come into our reality. Like, when you create something, when you create a business, when you create a video on YouTube, you are raising the consciousness of the planet to where it's like if you create an iPhone, like whatever you create, you are raising the consciousness of everybody on the planet to where we're all moving up as a whole, to where even 1800s, a luxury king might have had running water. But now, let's say, I don't know the percentages, most people, let's say first world countries, most people, probably second world countries if that exists, most people have a running water, when a king would probably only have running water in the 1800s. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you are, by doing the deeper work and getting out of survival mode, are not only raising your consciousness, you are affecting everyone around you. And this is literally proven with epigenetics. You are not only like turning off and turning on certain genes within yourself, but like you're doing it with the children that you have in your womb. You're doing it with the people around you. Your field is affecting everyone around you. You are up leveling everybody around you by doing the deeper work, by gaining more consciousness, by allowing yourself to be grateful and happy with everything you have currently, and allowing yourself to be a vessel for downloads, for creativity, for information, for God to use you. Like, you are doing God's work. So just know that you are exactly where you need to be, because you're watching this video right now. Like, you are exactly where you need to be, and nothing is a mistake. Everything is purposeful. Nothing is haphazard. Nothing is random in this universe ever. Like, if you know even just the basic things about science, nothing is ever random. You are exactly where you need to be. All the lessons that you are learning right now are meant to be learned. And also, if you're tired of learning the same lesson, which is something that I did earlier this year, or I think I did it last year, is tell God, I am no longer available for learning lessons the hard way. So stop learning things the hard way. If you're in a loop of constantly learning the same lesson, don't be available for it. Like, just energetic boundary. I'm not available for learning the same lesson over and over and over again. And just know, if you are learning something new, if you are in a space of self-consciousness and you're hyper-focused on something, zoom out, practice gratitude, be on a higher vibration of gratitude and love and peace, and at this stage of like being closer to God, essentially. That's what super conscious is. Allow yourself to be like just a vessel for abundance, and to also appreciate all the things around you. And just know that, again, you are exactly where you need to be. If you are hyper self-aware, just zoom out, because what you focus on expands. So zoom out and start hyper focusing on the things that you love. Start hyper focusing on your desires. Start hyper focusing on your creations and your manifestations. And that is what will bring those things to you in quantum speed, because you are focusing not on lack, not on this isn't right yet, I don't have the money yet, I don't have the health yet, I don't have the man yet. Focus on, like, I have an amazing relationship with myself. I have an amazing home that I live in. I have, like, just start focusing on all of the abundance in your life, and that is what will expand. So just know you are exactly where you need to be. It's like my 10th time saying it. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.